Welcome back, folks, to Classic Mario, Remake or Rebreak. This time we'll be looking at what many consider to be the best game in the entire series, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, as well as its remake, Super Mario Advance 2 for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, folks, I have no idea why they decided to skip Mario 3 and go straight for World. Maybe they thought it would showcase the GBA's capabilities better. I don't know, but that's the order these remakes were released, so that's the order I'm reviewing them in. If you want to see them in the original order, click on this annotation to redirect yourself to the Super Mario Advance 4 review, when it's up of course. But since you're already here and likely played this game already, you might as well just stick around. Anyways, when I was a kid, nobody I knew had any idea these were released out of order. Everybody I knew just called these games Super Mario Deluxe, Super Mario Advance, or Super Mario Advance 2. It's not like we knew any better. Hell, I didn't even know what an NES was until I was like 10 years old. All we knew was that there was a 2 on it, so we just assumed it was the sequel. And what a sequel it was! At the time, I could have easily called it my favorite Mario game, but that position has since been supplanted. Let's get this review on the road. After the enormous critical and commercial success of Mario 3, Nintendo began development on a new title for their soon-to-be-released Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Released in 1991 as a launch title for the fledgling console, Super Mario World helped to bring the new system into the mainstream, and prove itself a solid combatant to the competing Sega Genesis. The story is as simple as usual. After saving the Mushroom World from Bowser and his minions, Mario, Luigi, and the princess head off to distant Dinosaur Land, a collection of sunny and grassy islands, for a much-needed vacation. While there, Bowser appears and kidnaps the princess once again, absconding himself in the hidden depths of the islands. As Mario and Luigi grudgingly set off to save that ditzy dumbass in distress from Bowser's grasp, the brothers encounter Yoshi, a green dinosaur, who tells them that Bowser has captured his friends, trapping them in eggs with his magic, and has given them to his nefarious children, the Koopalings, returning from Mario 3. The brothers team up with Yoshi to save the princess and the other Yoshis, defeat Bowser and the Koopalings, and restore peace to Dinosaur Land. Upon booting up the game, we see one of my favorite introduction sequences in any game ever. Everything about it is just a pure rush of nostalgia, the visuals, the music, the pacing. And unlike the Advance 1 intro, it actually does a good job showing you what the game's story is. While Mario and Luigi fly off and explore the islands, giving the player a taste of what's in store for them, Bowser nabs the princess off screen. To fans of the original, this intro may seem like a trivial addition, but I honestly couldn't imagine this game without it. Like the last time around, this game also includes Mario Brothers, but this port is literally the exact same as the Advance 1 version, so I really don't think I need to say anything about it. Anyways, let's jump right into Mario World.
Here we go! Super Mario!
Like the original, this version offers 3 save files right off the bat, along with the utterly classic demo playing in the background. The gameplay is just as great as ever, and all the familiar elements from the first and third games come back in full force. Floating question blocks, multicolored pipes, stomping on enemies, you name it, it's all here and accounted for. The control is smooth and it's easy to pick up and play. Influencing Mario's jump in midair works just as it should, and sliding down hills always feels perfect. This game also adds a new ability, the spin jump, which allows Mario to bounce off of spiked enemies and kill small fries with one hit. Because this jump doesn't get as much height as the regular one, I don't find myself using it all that often, but it's still a fun addition nonetheless. In addition to playing as Mario, you can also play as Luigi. Unlike the original, where he was just a lazy palette swap, Luigi gets his own sprite set and also controls much like he did in Mario 2. While he runs very slowly and slipperily, his jump goes higher and is a lot floatier. I spent a sizable amount of time with both characters, and I found that Luigi was my favorite of the two. My biggest complaint with Mario is that his jump is incredibly abrupt. Upon reaching the peak of his jump, he immediately falls like a penny from the Empire State Building. Luigi, on the other hand, stays in the air a lot longer, making precision platforming a lot easier. While Mario handles well overall, I find that Luigi is more suited to the platforming in this game. Another introduction in this game is star points. Depending on how high you are when you clear a stage, you'll be awarded a certain number of points. Upon reaching 100, you get to play a bonus game, which is an utter crapshoot. You have to make rows with these blocks by matching the pictures, but since there's really no skill to it, you can maybe get 1 or 2 extra lives at most. I personally think that the Mario 3 bonus games were better, but hey, I'd still rather have this than that utterly broken nonsense in Mario 2. This game also marks the introduction of a few new Mario enemies that would make reappearances in later titles. Enemies such as Wigglers, Monty Moles, and Spoopers all owe their existence to Mario World. It also introduced what is quite possibly my favorite Mario baddie, the Magic Koopa, or as you might know him, an evil Koopa wizard! I don't really know why that is. Maybe I just like the design, or maybe it's the concept of a Koopa wizard, or maybe it's just because of characters like Kamek or Kamikoopa. World is also the first game to feature Koopa Troopas walking on 2 feet, which would become standard in future titles. Super Mario World features a decent number of power-ups. First, there's the obligatory Super Mushroom, which as before makes you grow twice as big and allows you to take an extra hit. Second, the Fire Flower, which once again allows you to throw fireballs. Third, the Starman, which is even rarer than ever but also seems to last longer. Fourth, we have my favorite of the bunch, the Cape Feather, which allows Mario to spin into enemies and fly high in the sky. The flying controls are a tad wonky, but once you get used to it, it becomes really useful, especially if you want to skip a particularly annoying level. Finally, we have blue blocks, which Mario can pick up and throw at enemies a la Mario 2. One thing I don't like about the original version is an unnecessary change made to the power-up system. In the NES version of Mario 3, if you had a Fire Flower or a Super Leaf and you were hit, you'd go back to being Super Mario, not regular Mario. In other words, second tier power-ups allowed Mario to take 3 hits instead of 2. But then they switched back to the Mario 1 system in the SNES version of World, which only boggles my mind. I don't think anybody complained about the Mario 3 system, so why change it back? The GBA version goes back to the Mario 3 system. If you're hit with a Fire Flower or a Feather Cape, then you're only downgraded to Super Mario, which is the way it should be. Another addition added in World is an item retainer on the HUD, which allows you to save a single mushroom, fire flower, or feather cape when you're in a pinch. It's a nice addition, but I still think the item inventory system in Mario 3 is more useful as well as strategic. Overall, while the collection of power-ups in Mario World is great, I don't think it quite measures up to the volume and variety offered in Mario 3. Thankfully, there's one other mechanic that helps World stand out, Yoshi the Dinosaur, a character that's since acquired his own spin-off series and become one of the most beloved characters in the entire franchise. I mean, just look at him. Adorable is an understatement. Like the other power-ups, you find Yoshi hidden in question blocks. What's weird about the SNES version is that Yoshi's arms are yellow for some reason, despite them clearly being green on the freaking box. The GBA version fixes that shit. Mario can then jump on Yoshi's back and go for a ride. Yoshi can lick up small enemies with his tongue, obliterate enemies with the same effects as the spin jump, and give Mario an extra hit against enemies. He also gains some special abilities when he eats different colored Koopa shells. The green ones do nothing, the red ones allow him to spit fireballs, the yellow ones allow him to stomp dust clouds, and my favorite of all, the blue shells, allow Yoshi to fly for a short period of time. Yoshi is a really fun addition to the core gameplay that I'd like to see implemented better in future 2D games. The graphics are virtually the same as the original SNES version, featuring bright flashy colors and subtly drawn backgrounds. Like Deluxe, there are a few minor changes, but nothing that really makes one version look better than another. The music's also wonderfully recreated. Like the first couple of Mario games, there are only a handful of tracks, with most of them borrowing from a central melody, but it's still hum-worthy. One of the things I love about the Super Nintendo in general is its more realistic sound font, but I never really felt like the original version of World really took advantage of its capabilities. It was a launch title after all, but the instrumentation and sound effects still sound very electronic and fakey and lacking energy. While I usually find that GBA music sounds damp due to the system's speaker limitations, I think the portable version of World sounds pretty good, adding some much needed vigor and energy where there once was none. Just compare the stage clear jingles back to back and you'll see what I mean. Now, that makes me feel like I just accomplished something. I also find that the castle theme, which sounds kind of underwhelming in the SNES version, sounds a lot more sinister and emotional in the GBA version. I know that I'm kind of nitpicking here because these soundtracks are virtually the same, but if I had to pick a favorite, then the GBA version sounds the slightest bit better. The sound effects also sound a lot less echoey, and, like Advance 1, it also features voice clips for both Mario and Luigi. While there aren't quite as many as last time, I still think it adds a dash of personality to the mix. The level types are kind of disappointing. You've got your usual grassy plain, underground, underwater, and fortress type levels, but you've also got the new ghost houses, which are probably my favorite type of Mario level. I love the atmosphere and the more puzzle-oriented level design, and the musical track is one of the more atmospheric ones in the game. There's also a few cliff-themed levels, a couple of night sky-themed levels, and one ice level. Overall, when compared to the staggering amount of variety offered in Mario 3's Mushroom World, Dinosaur Land just seems kind of underwhelming in comparison. Yoshi's Island, Donut Plains, and the Cookie Bridge areas all look the same, just basic grassy plain areas with an occasional underwater cave or cliff level mixed in. Vanilla Dome and the Valley of Bowser are mostly underground except for a handful of ghost houses and fortresses. While the Forest of Illusion is pretty interesting from an aesthetic point of view, the themes of the other worlds are pretty uninteresting and forgettable. Thankfully, I can't say the same about the actual levels themselves. Super Mario World features a whopping 96 levels to discover and explore, and while it may sound like they'd be watered down to compensate, the level design and world is likely the best of any classic Mario game. Mario 2 and 3 had some damn good level design as well, but World utterly blows them out of the water. Every enemy, block, pipe, and switch is placed with intentional purpose, and the game rewards you for going out of your way to explore the levels all the way through. By searching around through pipes or coin heavens, you can find ways to skip past chunks of the stage, or unlock new ones altogether. Sometimes you'll find special areas, like switch palaces, which allow you to unlock new colored blocks. Yellow blocks always contain mushrooms, green blocks always contain feather capes, but red and blue blocks don't contain anything at all, which is surprising. You'd think at least the red ones would have fire flowers in them or something. Not only do these blocks make survival in the later levels a lot easier, but they also allow you to access even more secret passages and extra levels. While the aesthetic themes of these levels may not be all that interesting, the design and exploration factor more than makes up for it. And on top of all of that, each level contains 5 Dragon Coins, which like the Ace Coins in Advance 1 are an added side activity for completionists. Since I've completed this game a good 20 times or so, I figured it was high time I collected them all, and oh boy did I have no idea what I was in for. Now, before I start bitching, I want to make it clear that this is completely optional, so regardless of how it plays, I'm not going to let it affect my final verdict. But since nobody ever talks about these fucking things in reviews, it's high time that someone spoke of the frustration that lies within. To collect all the Dragon Coins, you have to really scour the levels. If you die at any point, even after reaching a checkpoint, all the coins you found are gone, and you have to find them all over again. Also, if you complete a stage without finding them all the coins you've found so far are reset, and you have to find everything you've already found all over again. So, in summary, you have to beat the level all in one go while avoiding checkpoints like the plague and leaving no stone unturned. Why did they design it this way? In Advance 1, when you got an Ace Coin, it was forever collected. If you missed one, you could go back to that stage and find it without having to track down the coins you already found. I don't think that anybody who played the first game complained, "Oh no, it's too easy. Please make it arbitrarily harder next time." So why downgrade it? Granted, it is the same way it was in the SNES original, but this is a remake! You're supposed to fix stupid bullshit like that. And the remake actually does offer one thing that the original doesn't. While in the overworld map, you can open up a status screen that shows you how many of the exits and Dragon Coins you found in each stage. In the original, there was no such thing. Not even a little exclamation point like in Donkey Kong Country. And trying to beat some of these levels in one go was much harder than it sounds, even for a veteran like me. I must have spent a good half hour on Butter Bridge 2 just because of these surprise motherfucker flying Koopas that just pop out of nowhere and nuke you. Valley of Bowser 4 also gave me some fuck. In order to find the secret exit in this stage, you have to bring Yoshi all the way to the end, but with charging chucks throwing rocks at you from every direction, you're not going to last very long. The level also forces you to use the checkpoint, so if you fuck up and die at the last minute, you have to beat the level and start all over again just to get another Yoshi. But nothing, I repeat nothing, compares to the horseshit that resides in the ghost ship level. You play through a good several minutes of the level without finding a single coin, until you get to this vertical drop and watch incredulously as a Dragon Coin whizzes past you. There's not really any skill to this, just trial, error, and pure dumb luck. The only way you can conceivably get them all is to backtrack all the way to Forest of Illusion 2, grab a couple cape feathers, and then come all the way back and hope to Christ you don't get hit by the ghosts in the meanwhile. Who was the sadomasochist who decided that it was a good idea to put the coins here? If you're going to subject yourself to the agony of trying to collect these things, do yourself a tremendous favor and play the GBA version. Without the status screen, this entire side quest is completely unmanageable. But honestly, unless if you're a hardcore fan of this game, I wouldn't recommend going after the Dragon Coins. The only reward you get is a cutscene, and if you're playing the original, you don't even get that. The design of the coins also changes, to what I won't spoil, but really the only reason to attempt this is for bragging rights. It amounts to little more than a source of unadulterated frustration, and if you want to actually have fun, I suggest ignoring the Dragon Coins altogether and just playing the levels like normal. Alright then, negative over, back to positive. The bosses are pretty fun to fight, if a bit on the easy side. First we have Resnors, which ride around in these merry-go-rounds while shooting fireballs at you. The floor will collapse if you take too long, so watch out. Second we have the Big Boo, which only shows up in one level. This guy is incredibly easy, just wait until he appears above you and toss a couple blue blocks at him. Finally, we have the Koopalings, which are definitely more interesting to fight here than they were in Mario 3. Sometimes you have to play whack-a-mole and predict which pipe they'll come out of. Other times you have to wait until they crash down from the ceiling and stomp them when they're on the ground. Other times they run back and forth on triangular platforms, requiring you to knock them into the lava. Ludwig von Koopa is the most unique fight. He'll try to ram into you with the shell and shoot fireballs at you. Overall, while these bosses are pretty easy, I find that there's a lot more variety here than there was in Mario 3. After making your way through all 7 worlds, you finally reach Bowser's Castle, which oddly enough has both a back and front door. But we're not quite ready yet, because there are a couple of hidden worlds to explore first. Certain exits in each world will reveal a giant star gateway, which will fling you off to the Star World. Think of this as Mario World's version of the warp zones present in the first game. You can access it as early as Donut Plains, and if you wanted to, you could use it to skip all the way to Bowser's doorstep and beat the game in less than half an hour. Hidden in the Star World are 3 new types of Yoshis, which upon unlocking here can be found in regular levels in place of the green Yoshi. In the SNES version, you had to backtrack to the Star World to get another yellow, red, or blue Yoshi, so the GBA version makes things a lot more convenient. Each Yoshi has the ability of their respective Koopa shell color. No matter what shell they swallow, red Yoshis will always spit fireballs, yellow Yoshis will always stomp dust clouds, and blue Yoshis will always be able to fly. Hidden in the Star World is yet another secret world to explore, the Special World, which contains some of the hardest motherfucking Mario stages I've ever played, and that's coming from someone who's beat lost levels. If you're just playing through the levels like normal, you'll suffer a few deaths to be sure, but if you're collecting the dragon coins like I was, then this place can be an utter nightmare. I'm looking at you, Tubular. Seriously, this level is just a pain in the dick to travel through. All in all, the Special World is a difficult but fun optional area that's perfect for Mario fans who are up to a real challenge. If you can manage to beat every level and find every exit, you get this nifty cutscene, and the graphics will be altered slightly. You can then also use the status screen to warp instantly to any level in the game, which would have been significantly more useful before I had beat every level in the game. Just thinking of how many trips back to the top secret place or Forest of Illusion 2 I could have saved myself makes me seethe with anger. The final fight, disappointingly, is also pretty easy, but it at least offers a great sense of finality, which is all I'm really looking for in a final boss. Bowser swoops in, riding his Koopa clown car, and dishes out a pretty astonishing variety of attacks at you. You gotta stomp on his Mecha Koopas and throw them back up to damage him. What's always bugged me about the Super Nintendo version is that Bowser's skin is green for some mysterious, unexplained reason. May I ask why? He was the regular orange in Mario 3 and in the original manual as well, so how the hell did they screw that up? Once again, the remake gets it right and makes his skin orange. I also find that the final boss theme sounds a lot better in the GBA version. Just saying. After a good 6 hits, Bowser's car will fly off and the princess will land safely on her feet. Following an affectionate fireworks display, Mario, Luigi, Princess Toadstool, and the other Yoshis will all march back to Yoshi's house while one of the catchiest motherfucking credit themes of all time plays in the background. The Yoshis hatch, and we get to see a slideshow of all the enemies in the game. Now that, folks, is how you end a video game. Simple but satisfying. So, remake or re-break? What's the verdict? Having played through both versions multiple times, I think it's pretty hard to say which is stronger. Unlike the NES titles, which have aged in ways that makes them less approachable than newer installments, the SNES version of Super Mario World remains a pretty accessible title thanks to its save feature and more reasonable difficulty. When the biggest complaint I can come up with is that the artist got the coloration of a couple sprites wrong, then I think it's safe to say that Super Mario World is a well-polished game that's rather challenging to improve upon. When it comes down to it, I prefer the GBA version for all of the small improvements that were added to this version. Beyond the minor cosmetic alterations, this version improves the power-up system, allows you to find other colored Yoshis in regular levels, adds a status screen to help you keep track of exits and dragon coins, and I personally find that the music sounds a little better. Regardless of whether or not this remake tops the original, I can easily call it a remake. This is a very competent recreation of the original SNES classic that is so well crafted that I think even those who grew up with the original would find this to be a satisfying reincarnation. But no matter which version you're playing, I can definitely say that Super Mario World is a fantastic game that any, and I do mean any, self-respecting gamer should play within their lifetime. Especially if you've never played a Mario game and are looking for a good place to start. There's a reason why so many Mario fans cite Super Mario World as the best game in the series. The fantastic level design, well-balanced difficulty, and near-perfect control not only makes World a fantastic game in its own right, but also the perfect place to jump into the Mario series and see what all the hubbub is about. While I consider Super Mario Bros. 3 to be the better game, I still think Super Mario World is one of the standout titles in the series, most definitely in the series top 10. Whatever you need to do to get a hold of this game, you better go fucking do it. You can download the SNES version off of the Virtual Console for about $8, or buy the GBA version used off of Amazon for about the same price. So that about settles that, but we've still got 2 more games to go. Next on our list is Super Mario Advance 3, Yoshi's Island, for the Game Boy Advance. Until then, I'm ExoParadigmGamer, and I hope you enjoyed the review.